Hey guys, happy Preptober. I am so excited to start this prepping, planning, plotting season with you guys. I've said in previous videos, if you watch me regularly, I am starting a new work in November, something that I've never worked on before, something that does not have to do with my first novel, Valor. So all of these things that I'm going to be doing for you guys, I'm doing for myself, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how I get ready for NaNoWriMo. So today is our first video. Well, technically it's not the first video in October, but it's the first Preptober video, and I'm going to be talking about how to pick the story idea that you're going to be writing for NaNoWriMo. If you've watched my videos, then you know that Valor developed naturally a couple months before NaNoWriMo, and so I didn't necessarily sit down and have to choose a story idea to write. I already had one in the works. Right now, I don't have a story idea in the works at all. I have story ideas, but I haven't chosen one. So I'm going to give you some of my tips and things to consider when you're choosing your story idea, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to use that to choose my story idea. The first thing that I like to consider is genre. This kind of goes hand in hand with the next thing I'm going to talk about, but when you look at genre, it's very important to choose something that you are capable of writing and that isn't going to stress you out. Because NaNoWriMo is a very stressful time. If you've done it before, then you know that, and if you haven't done it before, you're writing a novel in a month. Doesn't that sound kind of stressful? When I wrote Valor, writing a historical fiction was absolutely what I wanted to do. Now I'm leaning more towards a different genre because I don't think that that is where I'm super excited about anymore. I love historical fiction. I will go back to historical fiction. But right now is not the time for me to write that. So I'm considering other genres. I think the first thing that you should probably look at is where your interest is lying right now. If you pick the genre, say you are a historical fiction writer like I am, and you decide that's not really what I want to do this NaNoWriMo. Take all of those historical fiction ideas, keep them in a safe little box or in your notebook, and put them over here. You don't need them right now. The second thing that I like to consider when I'm looking at story ideas is what is realistic for the time frame. Not all of your novels need to be written during NaNoWriMo. Not all writers even use NaNoWriMo. When I'm looking at writing a novel in a month, I don't want to waste that time. I want those words to be good. I want that story to be good. I want to develop my ideas and really make the most out of those 50,000 words and those 30 days that I work on it. So what is realistic for me to do? If I want to start the sequel to Valor, is it realistic for me to do it in NaNoWriMo? No, I don't think so. I don't think I have enough time to research it, to give it the attention and the planning that it deserves. The novel that I want to write for NaNoWriMo, not that it's any less than Valor or Valor's sequel, but the novel that you want to write for NaNoWriMo is something that you could realistically plan in a month and write in a month. I'm not saying that you're gonna hit 50,000 words and have a completed novel, because Valor is 3 times that, and obviously it wasn't finished in NaNoWriMo. But the goal is to have a solid 50,000 words by the time you're done. And those 50,000 words, you don't want to have to rewrite. So you have to look at what can you realistically plot during a month? What can you realistically research during that month if you're doing historical fiction? What can you develop in that month if you're doing fantasy? If you don't have any idea of what the magic system is in your world, if you don't have, your settings down, can you do it in a month? That's something you have to consider. The third thing that I like to consider is what story do I have that has longevity? I will give you an example. One of the ideas that popped into my head the other day was that I want to write a children's chapter book. I'm super excited about that. I think it would be so much fun. It would be something different that I've never done before. But I don't have an idea for that children's chapter book. I just have, I want to write a children's chapter book. Does that have the longevity to keep me interested and keep me focused for Preptober and for NaNoWriMo? At this point, you know, in October, getting ready for next month, probably not. That's probably not the idea that I'm going to pick because it doesn't have the longevity that I need it to. The fourth thing that I like to consider, because I think it's one of the most important things that you could already have done before you enter NaNoWriMo, is which characters are the most developed. If you have a story idea, but you don't have any characters that you're picturing in certain roles or anything like that, then you're going to need to develop those characters and have them pretty solid by November 1st, because characters drive your plot. If you plot out your entire story and nothing changes, well, maybe you're just a phenomenal plotter. But if it's your first novel, or it's your first novel with that set of characters, it probably means that some of your characters are not as well developed as they could be. When I wrote Valor, I knew exactly how I wanted it to happen, and then it didn't happen that way because I created characters that had their own thoughts and feelings and developed their own story arcs because I gave them a personality. And they told me they were not going to do what I had planned for them. So, which characters do you have that are the most developed that you know, even if there's something wrong with the plot and you can't figure out a plot hole or you're stuck on a scene, those characters are enough to drive your story forward, at least for the 30 days of NaNoWriMo. Which ones are those and what idea are they attached to? And then finally, my fifth and last tip or thing to consider when you're picking your story idea is, which one are you super, super, super excited about? That is such an important thing. You want to be over the moon excited about the idea that you choose, the story that you choose, because if you're not gonna write it, or you're gonna write it and it's not gonna be great. So pick the story idea or the story ideas that are calling to you in this moment right now, and write those. Hey guys, sorry if anything changed, but the camera battery died. I had to change it. Now we're good for the end of the video. So I gave you my tips, my tricks, what I think you need to consider when you're picking your story idea. And now I'm going to take you through my picking of my story idea. I'm going to show you how I use my tips. I have about 5 story ideas or concepts that I'm considering. The first one, like I mentioned, was a chapter book. And I'm going to nix that idea because I'm not going to do it. I don't have enough time to plan that story idea out. I don't have the energy or the resources to do that story idea. That's just how it is right now. My second story idea is a dystopian. I love this story idea. I think that it has a lot of sellable potential, which is not why you should be writing books. But when you're 20 and you want to become an author and you want to break into the industry, knowing the markets and knowing what people are looking to buy is always a good thing. So I know that this story idea is something that would sell and that people would be interested in selling and putting in bookstores. So that one is super exciting, but I don't know that right now it's the one that sets my heart on fire. I also don't have any characters ready for that story. I don't have any research or planning for the world and the systems in that story. My third idea is a fantasy. This idea doesn't extend past writing a fantasy novel. I want to write fantasy. I've never done it before. It sounds super exciting to me. It sounds like something I would love, that would make me feel excited to write again, and I haven't been writing for a very long time, so I really want to do that. do I have the capability to create a fantasy novel world characters in a month and then write that novel? I don't know. But that is the idea that calls to me the most, that makes me the most excited. My fourth idea is my mob story, and if you haven't watched my video where I talk about plot bunnies, I will leave it linked in the description down below. That is the idea that I talk about, and I do love this idea. But again, I don't know that I can do it justice in the time frame that I have. I would really like to spend a lot of time on this idea, especially because I feel like the risks are higher for that story versus just a generic fantasy story, because I do feel a lot of pull towards that story. I have scenes in my head for that story. I have relationships that I want to develop for that story, whereas this fantasy story, you know, it could take the shape of anything I want it to take because it's nothing. It's a void. It's a blob right now. I can mold it to whatever I want it to be, and maybe I mold it toward something that I can write in 30 days. And then my fifth and final idea is a Bible story retelling. This retelling wouldn't necessarily be religious, but I'm taking a class about the Bible this semester, and we're obviously reading the Bible. And there was a story that just called to me. Called to the historian in me, to the feminist in me, and I want to retell it. I want to tell it for everybody out there who has never read it, who can consider this prominent figure in biblical history in a completely different way. And I'm very on the fence about that story because I'm super excited to write it, but I'm nervous that I won't have enough of the research and reading done to do it justice. If you listen to all my tips and then listen to me blather on and on, you're gonna say you didn't pick a story idea, so this was a useless activity. Yes and no. I picked a couple story ideas, right? I decided that there were a couple that I wanted to pursue, and I wasn't really sure which one I wanted to write. Which leads me to the next couple of videos that I'm going to make for you guys, where I'm going to be testing out different outlining and plotting methods with the story ideas that I'm considering, and then at the end of that series of videos, I will be picking one of those stories to continue and write for NaNoWriMo. So not only will hopefully these videos help you guys pick an outlining style that works for you and that will help you get through Preptober and start NaNoWriMo off super prepared to write your novel, but it will also help me, who is very indecisive as this video has shown, pick an idea that I want to write and that I am super passionate about. So look for those videos coming up in the next couple of days. I'm so super excited to make them for you guys. That's all that I have for this video today. I hope that this helped you when you're picking your story idea and deciding what you want to invest your time in this Preptober to plan for your characters, your setting, your plot, everything like that. I hope that you learned something maybe about me or about yourself or about your story ideas, and you're ready to continue with me on this Preptober journey and get ready to write our novels. I'm CarsonLee. I make new writing videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Please subscribe down below if you want to see more writerly content from me. I'm making Preptober videos all this month, and then NaNoWriMo videos and NaNoWriMo vlogs, so you definitely don't want to miss them. I'm super excited about the videos that I'm making for you guys, and I hope that you guys are super excited to watch them. Leave a comment down below if you guys know what story idea you're writing, or if you're like me and you are oscillating between a couple and you can't decide. I would love to hear from you guys, and I will see you guys on Friday. Bye!